Welcome to the vlog. So today we are visiting North Carolina and we are splitting this into multiple days so you can kind of see a little bit of everything that we did on the trip. It was a beautiful area located in the Blue Ridge Mountains, and we stayed at one of the local hotels to get a lay of the land, and we had a great time on our first night just grabbing something to eat, getting some ice cream. Look at our full itinerary over on the blog. Welcome to North Carolina. So we are on our first family summer vacation for the summer. We're in North Carolina and today we're in Brevard. We're going down to Looking Glass Falls, and later on today we're going to be going to the Biltmore. So I'm just going to take you along on our adventure. We did fly into Charlotte yesterday. We found a really great place to eat when we came in and got some delicious food. Then drove on over to Asheville and we're spending a couple days over here. So this is the Pisgah National Forest. It's really beautiful, and there's tons of nature things you can do here. Kayaking, you can do fishing, you can do rafting, floating down the river. So definitely a lot of nature enthusiasts and lots of things you can do in nature. This was a really easy, I don't even know that you could call it a hike, but there was just these short set of stairs to go down to the lower level where there was a landing where you could view the waterfall. But if you kept on walking down the stairs, you could make it all the way down to the rocks and this small creek where the kids could play in the creek. And this was just a really great angle to view the waterfall from and enjoy a bit of nature that surrounds this whole rock bed area. We really like going to areas like this where you can really be immersed in the whole nature experience. We loved doing hiking when we were in Alabama, so this was a great way just to start out the day with a bit of nature, get a little bit wet but not too wet this day, and enjoy the waterfall views. So for lunch, we're heading back to Asheville and we're going to go to White Duck Taco Shop. This place was recommended that it has really good tacos, great lunch spot. So we're going to go check it out. We've already tried a bunch of good food since we've been here. So we're hopefully just going to stay on that roll. And then tonight we have planned to go to Farm Burger, which actually they have one of those in Huntsville, but I don't think we went to the Huntsville one after it opened. So we're going to go to Farm Burger and get some burgers tonight. So we're going to take a ride on the Ridge Parkway. And this is our first time ever being on the Parkway. It's a favorite for motorcyclists. I just want to stop to get a picture of the view real quick. We're looking at Cold Mountain. If you've never driven on the Blue Ridge Parkway, this is a must-see when you're in this area of North Carolina. It is a beautiful winding road that goes up into the mountains. You reach some of the highest elevations. You can see the valleys down below. You can see we're even basically up in the clouds at one point. But it is such a beautiful drive. You go through the series of tunnels to go through the different mountain areas, and you see the area from so many different angles. It's just a really amazing view, and if you love that mountain view, this is definitely worth the experience. Slightly longer drive than if you take the main road. It's about 15 minutes longer, but so worth the view. So we took this road to get back up to the Asheville area. It is about a 50-minute drive, so if you need to plan that into your schedule to take the Blue Ridge Parkway back, I would allow at least 50 minutes to an hour, so that way you have enough time to get back and forth between the different areas. After our morning at Looking Glass Falls, we headed back into Asheville to go to the River Arts District and eat lunch at White Duck Taco Shop. I was so looking forward to this, and it did not disappoint. The tacos were amazing, and this is a great little place to have lunch and just enjoy the riverside. We got a number of tacos at the White Duck Taco Shop. Isabella got the General Tso's, I got the steak one. We're gonna share this watermelon mint side. We also got chips, and they got a number of tacos over there. After lunch, we had tickets to go to the Biltmore Estate, so it was time to take the winding drive over there. The drive to get from the front gate entrance to actually even just the parking lots is about 3 miles long. So at the point where you start to wonder if you're lost, you just keep going, keep following the signs, and you will eventually arrive at a great little parking lot where shuttles can pick you up and take you to the main house. If you're visiting with your family, bathrooms may be of interest. There are restrooms in this park and ride shuttle area. There's also restrooms around the carriage house and where all of the shops are. So you definitely want to make sure to use the restroom before you go on the main house tour because there are no restrooms inside the actual house.
Trolley on the other side wanting to exit, stop about right here, even with this no passing zone sign, and that allows them enough room to come out, and then they'll direct you to the front door. I'm going to drop you off up here on the right, but once again, through the scanner building to the right for restrooms, guest services, gift shops.
So they've got that special glass exhibit going on right now, so there's all kinds of glass work and really beautiful accessories, homeware. They have Alex and Ani bracelets, and actually I've heard online in the Dooney groups they have Doonies too. Oh, they have launch fly bags too, so here's all the Dooney and Burke bags that they have, special Biltmore print. That's a tote. And then they actually have lounge fly bags. I had literally no idea that they had lounge fly bags. Cute. And they're on sale too. I like these keychains. These are pretty. Yeah. There's another lounge fly.
Yeah, it says rain starting your location.
Okay, we're gonna head over to the house because it's getting ready to start raining. We're gonna get inside. I had always heard that Biltmore Estate was a must-see historical place in the United States, and this is probably something you didn't know about me, but I absolutely love architecture. I love going on architecture tours, and I especially love architecture from this time period. This was such a treat to be able to see this in person. It's absolutely magnificent, and I told my husband really the only word to describe it is just pure opulence. But once we got inside the house, we were able to see all of its expansiveness. You do have a timed entry that you go inside, and so we just had a few minutes to wait while we were waiting for our ticket time to open up. Luckily, the carriage shop, there's a lot of little tiny shops like a Christmas shop and also a little eatery. These are all open to the public even before your ticket time. So do arrive a little bit early and do some exploring. And we actually lucked out because it rained right at the time when we were in there doing our exploring. And by the time it was our ticket time, we were able to go right up to the door and not have to stand in that long line. Once you get inside, you're giving these audio tour devices where you just hit the number of each individual room that you're at, and then it gives you a tour of what's going on in that room and a bit of the facts and history about it. So as you're walking around, it just tells you about everything that you're seeing with the number on these. I love the ceiling detail too. So this is the banquet hall. So clearly by this point, I had already started nerding out about the architecture and all of the amazing design elements in this house. I especially love details like ceilings and ornate wood carvings. You could see the fireplace was magnificent. The family crest was at the very top of this, and this banquet hall was unlike anything I'd ever seen in my entire life. Basically envision the Haunted Mansion and make it a real life house is what this house was. It was so incredible to walk in these rooms with such a high ceiling and be able to see everything. So if you don't know about the history of Biltmore Estate, it is the largest private residence in the United States that's now been turned into a museum by the family. Construction on the estate began in 1889, and it took about 5 years to complete everything, which honestly I think is pretty fast. George Vanderbilt, who was originally from New York, is the one that built this house, and then it was passed down to his family. And the Vanderbilts loved this area of the country because of its natural beauty, so they really built this house around the natural beauty of the area, and it's really reflected in a lot of the architecture. So you can see outside you have these beautiful views of the Blue Ridge Mountains, and in just a few minutes we're going to walk out on the balcony and you can really take it all in. So this house is 175,000 square feet. That's just like unbelievable to say, and it has 35 bedrooms, 43 bathrooms, and 65 fireplaces. I think what's most amazing is that as you go around and you see all the different rooms and all the different uses, some of them, like the music room, weren't actually completed at the time that the house was open, and they were later completed by future family members. But as you go around and you see how expansive this house got, and then you go downstairs in the basement where there is more information about how they built the house, you find out that he originally just wanted to build a 6,000 square foot home, and it eventually went into this over 100,000 square feet house. It's just amazing. But look at the view of the area. You can definitely see why they love this area so much. So at this point in the tour, you can see that there's quite a number of people, and you kind of just keep moving along from room to room, and you can kind of take the audio tour on your own pace. This library was one of my favorite rooms. It was absolutely beautiful and had over 22,000 books in there. George Vanderbilt was an avid reader. He enjoyed traveling, and he was also an entrepreneur, so I very much appreciate his backstory. But as you're going around the house, you're probably starting to think, how kid-friendly is this? And so I talk a little bit more about this on the blog, if you want to check that out down below on BeMommyWithStyle.com, and planning your own Asheville adventure. But the house was really beautiful. I'd say the kids made it through a majority of the house tour while being entertained, looking at everything and listening to the audio tour. However, it does hit a certain point where looking at older rooms starts to become not quite as interesting for them. And by the time we made it to about the basement, I think this is actually about the room where we started to lose everyone, is the Mrs. Vanderbilt's room. You know, they just kind of start to lose interest in it. So I would say this is best suited for children that are over about the age of 10 or 11, or just that they have an innate interest in history or architecture. So like for myself, I could spend hours upon hours in this place just looking at all the details. But if you have a child that's not particularly interested in history or all of these details, maybe not the best fit quite yet. Okay, so when I said there were no bathrooms earlier, what I meant was there's no public bathrooms. There are the historic bathrooms that clearly are not currently meant to be used. So when you get inside the home, you can see all of the period furniture, the bedding, the artwork, all the accessories really. I mean, you can really see it decorated how it would have been decorated over those 100 years ago, but also the plumbing fixtures are also the older kind of original style bathrooms as well too, which are very neat to see, but those are not public usable, so there are no public restrooms inside the home. There's this grand staircase where you can go up and down between the different levels. So after you've done the whole first floor and then gone up to the second floor where the bedrooms are, it's time to head downstairs to the spooky basement. Now, I will admit this hallway was a little bit spooky, but it was fairly well lit, and it opens you up into this museum room that has all kinds of great information about the building, the materials and supplies, who all was involved into getting this project off the ground. Then there's also a lot of recreation things in the basement, like a swimming pool and a gymnasium and locker rooms. It just goes on and on and on, really. So it is neat to go around the basement and see all of the kitchen areas, all the different things that are in this space. But if you have kids, they're probably going to start to get bored right at about this point. This was the main kitchen area, and also all of the workers' quarters were downstairs as well too, so there is just so much that you can see on the tour, even the storage areas with all of the vases in there. I'm obviously still nerding out at this point, so it was time to call it a day and head outside. There are huge grounds that you can explore as well too. At this point, the family was done with the tour, and it was time to head back for dinner in Asheville and meet some friends. So in part 2, we're heading back to the Pisgah National Forest, and we're going to go to Sliding Rocks, so see you in the next video.